Okay, on this segment of the actual training DVD, we're going to show you how to measure a Colours wheelchairs. People have always called up, want to know about certain measurements, certain dimensions that they need to fill in on our order forms to make sure that they guarantee the right fit of the chair. Now, once again, Colours basically tailor makes our chairs to the individual. So all these measurements that we're going to talk about right now are very crucial to determine the right fit for the chair of the individual. The first measurement that's always asked on our wheelchairs is going to be the width of the chair. What Colours would normally request done is from the outside frame to the outside frame is the actual going to be the seat width. So in order to get an accurate measurement, you're going to need to go from, once again, the outside of the frame to the outside of the frame. This particular one, if you can see, basically measures in at 15 inches. The second dimension that gets taken is the full depth of the seat sling. This basically determines the entire sitting area from the width and the actual depth. What we've done on this, we take our measurement all the way from the back of the actual seat sling, right where the backrest meets, to the front. This particular one happens to measure at 14 inches. This is kind of key because of the fact that if we don't have the right amount of seat sling underneath the individual, the proper pressure balance may not be applied. So it's pretty important to get the width and the depth right on that. The way you can kind of see it is we would take our seat sling to the top of the existing backrest. Now we offer a variety of ranges as far as that goes. We can start out basically at 9 inches, give you an opportunity to offer an adjustable range anywhere from 10 to 12, and from there we can go to 13 to 15, and then we do stationary sizes which will be 16, 17, and 18. The other information that Colours needs is going to be the height of the wheelchair, which includes the front seat height and the rear seat height. The way this is actually determined is from the ground to the top of the seat sling. Not to the top of the frame, but to the top of the seat sling. That is actually going to be the true height of the chair. This particular one right here happens to be 17 in the front, and because I'm slightly propped up the back, we've also got it at basically 17 in the back. Very important for Colours to know. We cannot manufacture this wheelchair unless we have all those dimensions that we just requested on there. Now let's talk about custom front seat height and custom rear seat heights, even customizing the actual measurements on the chair entirely. If you were basically to follow our order form, Colours usually gives you your front seat height and your rear seat height in some parentheses that are within the actual standard pricing guidelines. That's not saying that you can't go outside of those actual guidelines. As long as you're not dealing with our Spaz G and our Chump G, you can ask for whatever you basically want as far as front seat height and rear seat height goes. Take, for instance, this chair right here. On the actual order form, it stops at 19.5 inches in height with a 3-inch caster. That's not saying Colours cannot make this thing up to 21 inches, even to 22 inches. That's us custom making the frame and still delivering it with the choice of caster that's being recommended. On the rear seat height, we basically can do a couple different things. We offer a wide variety of actual adjustment on the back, anywhere from 15 in the back to 19 up in the front. A lot of the times, most of our chairs will fall within that guidelines. You can check a couple of our chairs, such as the Eclipse or something like that, can get real low as far as like a 13-inch rear seat height. But all this type of stuff can be customized. Once again, as long as you're not doing our G series. So your request to do customizing on these frames, whether it be the rear seat height, front seat height, is absolutely deliverable. Another custom option that is available on Colours chairs is a custom inside foot width. Not everybody will follow the actual guidelines that we follow. Most of our chairs have a standard 3-inch taper from the width of the seat sling down to the actual footrest. That's not saying somebody may need this to be 15 up here, they might need this to be 14 down here, or maybe even down to 9. Whatever that person's requesting, we can do that on this actual chair, or most of our chairs I should say, as long as it's actually not the G series. G series is key here, no custom on G. One other dimension that you can actually look at is going to be a diagonal measurement. Now this actual measurement is key when you are reproducing somebody's current chair onto a Colours chair. Colours can actually do this by taking the dimension, which would be right in here, right where the backrest meets the frame. Very important part right here. We would take a diagonal measurement from this point right here, where these two areas meet, and we're going to take it all the way down to the front of the footrest. So to kind of give you a visual on this, from where the front of this footrest basically is to where this backrest meets the actual frame right in here. This one, the way we're looking at, has a 27-inch diagonal. This can be done by Colours when, once again, you're reproducing an existing frame. So if there's somebody out there that says, you know what, I love the fit of my chair, it's just old, I need a new one, and I want to get a Colours chair, you can communicate that to us, and once again, we can basically make that as a custom feature. A couple other things that basically can be taken into consideration too. If you do need to do a custom center of gravity, your center of gravity is basically your balance point on the actual wheelchair that determines the tippiness of the chair or the stability of the chair. By moving this area forward or backward determines what that chair is going to be like for that individual. Colours usually sends ours out anywhere between 2.5 and 3 inches, but that's not to say that you guys cannot request a custom center of gravity. And the way we actually do our custom center of gravity is, once again, from this pivot point where the backrest meets the frame, we take it right to the actual center of the axle receiver. So in this particular case, if you were looking at this chair, the way it meets here, we actually have a 2-inch center of gravity set up on this chair. Once we've taken that actual dimension from where the backrest meets the frame here to the actual center of the receiver, that can determine whether or not we can build that center of gravity for them. In most cases, it's absolutely available. The final measurement that Colours would usually ask for would be the overall width of the chair. This is absolutely determined by the outside of the push rim on the right side to the outside of the push rim on the left side. This will indicate to us that if there's a doorway, an obstacle, some sort of a ramp width that we have to stay within, we would ask you to communicate this to us. If not, we'll probably stand it out at the actual standard width with the inside wheel clearance being talked about. The inside wheel clearance is a measurement that's taken from the inside of the tire to the outside of the backrest post. If there's ever going to be side guards involved, we would take the measurement from the inside of the tire to the inside of the side guard. Standard on these chairs is usually 1 inch. Some users have a tendency to like it a little bit tighter or maybe even a little bit wider for finger clearance.